Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. You may have noticed that recently Michael Keaton, the man who played Beetlejuice and was the original Batman in the 1989 Tim Burton Batman, has reemerged in society. We're seeing him in a lot of movies. We're seeing his face all over the place. And of course, most people out there wouldn't think that Michael Keaton could be involved in this Bloodline because Michael Keaton plays himself off as squeaky clean. He's funny. He's more likable than a lot of the people they roll out in today's society. He tries to stay out of politics, but of course, he's out there for a reason. And if you didn't hear, Michael Keaton wants to go by his real name again. And you might say, wait a minute, what? Michael Keaton's not his name? Well, this is a great opportunity for people to wake up. You see, Michael Keaton doesn't use his real name, just like most actors in Hollywood don't use their real name, because they don't want you to figure out that they're all related to each other, because then the wool will no longer be pulled over your eyes. And you'll say to yourself, wait a minute, so all these times you've told us that we could become whatever we want, that I could become an actor if I'm talented enough, or I could become a famous musician if I try hard enough. You're telling me that that's all fake? That you told us that so that we could be under a massive deception and thinking that these people are talented and that we're not? Yeah, it's a massive deception. I call it the mouse and the wheel effect. They make you chase something you can never achieve. They beat humanity down to a pulp while everybody praises and idolizes the same people who are indoctrinating society with the Luciferian doctrine. And Michael Keaton has come out and he said that he's going to change his name. And what's he going to change his name to? Well, he's going to change it to Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas, that name sounds familiar too, doesn't it? I'll get into that in a second. But here's the clip that aired on the Today Show about, well, a lot of famous people who conveniently changed their name.
The star of Beetlejuice has adopted a new stage name.
I'm gonna make you so happy.
No longer just Michael Keaton, he's adding in his real last name to form Michael Keaton Douglas. The 73-year-old revealing to People magazine he changed his name in the 1970s, picking Michael Keaton out of a phone book because Screen Actors Guild rules don't allow members to use a name that may cause confusion. And there was already a pretty famous Michael Douglas.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Michael Keaton Douglas says he intended to use the new name on his latest directorial project, Knox Goes Away. But amid the stress of making the film, he forgot to give them enough time to put it in, according to People. Name changes have a long history in Hollywood.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Before she was Marilyn Monroe, she was Norma Jean Baker. John Wayne, Marion Robert Morrison. Emma Stone is actually...
My real name is Emily. It's sort of like when you register a business and you can't have the same name as someone else.
And in music, names often turn creative.
When did you go with John Legend?
Well, it was a nickname that some friends started calling me in the studio.
For a period of time, musical icon Prince chose to go by this unpronounceable love symbol.
Well, my name is very spiritual to me.
But that was way too confusing for fans, and he eventually changed it back. It just goes to show, in the vast world of showbiz, you can always reinvent yourself, or at least your name.
Wasn't it funny that we've always been told that celebrities change their names because they don't sound stage-like enough? I mean, that used to be what they talked about. They'd say, well, you know, if you got a real name like, you know, Poconos or Liberace, man, maybe you should change your name because it doesn't sound convenient enough. But the real reason, of course, is that the last names of a lot of these people would make you say to yourself, wait a minute, a lot of these people are part of a certain bloodline. A lot of these people are Khazarian, huh? A lot of these people are related, and that's a little bit weird how they're all famous and they're all related. So again, Michael Keaton, we've seen him pose before doing the all-seeing eye symbolism. If you didn't know, now you know. You could see that picture. And Michael Keaton, again, the name that he's going to switch to, his real name, is Michael Douglas. So you might say, wait a minute, Michael Douglas, the guy from Greed? Yeah, Michael Douglas, the guy from Greed. Here he is holding up the 666 hand sign. You might say, well, that might get confusing. But didn't you know that Michael Douglas's real name isn't Michael Douglas? He's the son of Kirk Douglas, right? And his name is Isor Danielovich. That might sound like it belongs to a specific bloodline, because it does. Here's an article how a poor Jewish kid from upstate New York became Kirk Douglas, Hollywood's best loved gladiator. And the lesson to be learned here, the reason I'm covering this is another opportunity for people to wake up, to realize that these people aren't famous because these people are more talented than us. The movie industry, Hollywood, is there as a massive form of mind control. They put all these ideologies in films, they subtly do it and convince you and engineer your behavior and convince you of ideologies that they want you to accept in our society. And all the people in Hollywood, they're actually doing more acting on the outside than they are in the actual films. When they go and do these interviews, like Michael Keaton's doing all these interviews now for Beetlejuice, when they show up on these TV shows, that's really them acting, pretending to be someone that they're not, because they're professional liars by design. They're all agents of the government. And when Hollywood was created, all these agents were put in place. And then they created all these illusions because people were saying, well, why are these people so famous? Who are these people? What are their names? And of course, they all had fake names. There was no internet then. So people would just hear the name Michael Douglas, Kirk Douglas, and they go, oh, yeah, Kirk Douglas. Okay, he must be real talented, and his son, right? But now, of course, that you could pay attention to this stuff if you choose to before, of course, it's censored, you'll see that they're all related to each other. In fact, we could even see the connection between politicians and celebrities, musicians and celebrities, Abe Lincoln, the Queen herself, Queen Elizabeth. All these people are related. Even people on the left and right who are supposedly enemies of each other are all related by blood. Take a look.
So it turns out you're related to Angelina Jolie. And we found a picture that I couldn't believe. I don't know why we haven't seen this picture of you. Let's see Angelina first of all. And
you know, I really admire what she's doing on behalf of, you know, charity and HIV/AIDS and a lot of work around the world. I've done some events with her, and she's
so it makes
really
sense
committed.
that y'all are related.
Well,
now
apparently
this is the odd one, which I did not know. You're also cousins with Madonna.
That's true.
So, can I? You know, she refuses to acknowledge.
Is she not acknowledging it?
No,
Kate? Is she just not having it?
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I am related to Kate Middleton. She is my 14th cousin, twice removed.
Okay, that's close enough.
I think so.
I
It's
think
not
so.
like 3 times removed. It's twice removed. So, and I'm related to Madonna and Halle Berry, and both of them embrace it.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Exactly. And why wouldn't Katie?
Well, indeed. We put you in the photograph with the royal family because we thought we should.
Isn't that wonderful?
You want to know who I'm related to?
Who are you related to?
Sarah Palin.
No.
That's what I said.
Fantastic.
Twisted way, somebody sent me this information that she was my...
Has this been genealogically...
This is the Cloud Atlas Continuum.
Blown away to find out today that you are related, in fact, to Abraham Lincoln. Your family is that true?
Yes.
That's so cool!
Yeah, yeah, no, Nancy Hanks was Abraham Lincoln's mother. So, yeah.
Look at that!
He's yeah.
You've no doubt heard the old saying, politics makes strange bedfellows. Well, it also makes for some pretty strange family ties. Listen to this. It turns out that one of President Obama's toughest critics is actually his cousin. Claire Shipman shakes the family tree.
Turns out these two are more than just political enemies. They're having a family feud.
They're 10th cousins, which means that they share a common ancestor. So a man named John Smith, who was an early settler to Massachusetts.
Yes, you heard right. Barack Obama and Sarah Palin are cousins with a family tree that takes them back to one Mr. Smith of the 1600s.
Sanders was booked today. All coincidence.
I know.
What I didn't realize was I didn't know y'all were really related for real.
Yes.
What's the connect?
We're second or third cousins. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
You feel that?
We go back to the old country. Yeah, I do. I feel a familial connection with him.
I want to break some news to you tonight. Our friends at Ancestry did some digging. You are related to Fred Rogers.
Impossible. No, you're pulling our leg.
All right.
Let's look at this.
How far away is it?
Wait, look at a Mefford.
I know, yeah, Mefford.
Oprah tried to say that you two are somehow, some way related.
Yeah, she said she actually researched it and found it to be true.
And that's so.
Some kind of Presley with a Winfrey hooked up somewhere along the line in the South. You know how it goes.
Cousin Oprah.
That's right.
Cousin Oprah would be proud.
You do match someone who's been in the series before.
Really?
You have long identical segments of DNA.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Please turn the page and meet your genetic cousin.
Julianne? Julianne, Julie! You know, we went to school together.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That is Cory Booker.
Yeah.
You and Cory Booker are DNA cousins.
So the lesson to be learned here is that none of these people are actually famous because they're talented. They're famous because they're related to one another. And the same goes with politics. It's the illusion that we're in a republic. It's the illusion of freedom. And they're using mind control operations on the masses to convince you that they're pretty much convincing you into compliance. The majority of things that we look at as trends, right? The things you might say, well, you dress this way because you chose to dress this way. You're eating this food because you chose to. But really, you're being influenced by these people. And you might say to yourself, I'm not influenced by them. I'm not influenced by that. But sometimes subconsciously, you're picking up on these things without even knowing why you're doing this, why you're saying certain things. That's how lingo gets pushed, right? There's always new lingo, new terminology used that people will say, this word now means this. This is the new hip, cool word. This is all from social engineering. And that's what all of these people are doing to society. And we're empowering them by bowing down to them, by looking at them as if they're talented and we're not, by looking at them as if they got to these positions because they earned these positions. And, oh yes, Michael Keaton is great in Batman. Who is this guy to say that Michael Keaton's an agent? I love Batman. Well, you love Batman and you love Beetlejuice because you're under what they call hypnosis. That's what movies are. They put you under hypnosis. And when the Bible warns about idol worship, I think most Christians out there are thinking that we're going to see these people standing, bowing down to a giant statue. They literally are the idols mentioned in the Bible. They are the idols that God forbids man to worship. And people won't admit that they're worshiping them. Yet they're allowing these people to dictate their thoughts without them even realizing it. That's why every single actor identifies as a Democrat, because they're communists. Communism is Satan's government. It enslaves humanity. Every single actor in Hollywood is a communist. They're all Democrats. Have you noticed? They all vote the same, tell you to vote the same, and they all have the same ideologies, right? It's not, nobody out there goes any further than that to question why? Because they're government operatives, and they're trying to engineer your behavior into accepting enslavement without you even realizing it's enslavement. I call it the Stepford wives syndrome, right? Like walking around in a delusion, a dystopia. Oh yes, everything's wonderful and great. Well, they whip you in the back. Well, they taser you in the nuts. And you go, yeah, this is wonderful. This is great. These people are the ones who are trying to get you to accept it. And they're all related to each other. That's supposedly, it's not a big secret, but it still seems to surprise people. So when Michael Keaton comes out and says he's really Michael Douglas, people are like, wow, that's weird. But there's already a Michael Douglas. They didn't realize, well, Michael Douglas isn't even really Michael Douglas. They pick names out of a hat. Why do they pick names out of a hat? It's not because when they say their names that you're at home and you're not going to go see the movie because the name doesn't sound catchy enough of the actor in the movie. It's because if you realize what bloodline they're a part of, you'll start to say, wait a minute. This isn't fair. And why are all these people in Hollywood and why can't people from the outside have a fair chance to get in? And what is Hollywood really about? And what is this? Is this really a form of witchcraft? Oh, yes, it is. And then you realize it when you see that they're all related, they're all connected. But most people don't. Most people out there hear this story and they're just going, that's crazy. Michael Douglas and another Michael Douglas, Michael Keaton Douglas. Maybe they are related. They'll say, oh, they got the same name. They don't even know that Michael Douglas doesn't even have the real name. And it's not because they changed their names because you can't pronounce it. They changed their names to hide their bloodlines and the fact that they're all related to each other. The same with the politicians. They're all related by blood. Might as well call it a monarchy. Let's be real. A reminder, everybody, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, Rebel Call and Nations Conspire, do so now. The links, I will leave them below the video. Those are my two other channels that I'm uploading new content on. I am uploading between channels, so I'm not putting every new video up on this channel. I'm putting all new videos up, only new videos on all of my channels. So make sure you're subscribed to all of them. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always and your families.